Now we also see a comic book called Mystery Tales. The hidden land could be the island, and the voice of warning could be Jacob. Nice use of punctuation too. Now the compass could be the one used by Sayid and Locke on the island. The vial could contain the ash that surrounds Jacob's cabin too. And the baseball glove, well, we just really aren't sure why yet. Maybe by picking the knife, this proves to Richard that this isn't the right version of Locke, in that might have to wait a whole nother lifetime possibly to replay this scene and hope that Locke chooses the right item. Another possibility might be that Locke chooses the knife because 40 years in the future, Abaddon comes to him and tells him that you go to the Australian outback with nothing more than a knife and your wits, and when he chooses the knife, this proves to Richard that Abaddon or Widmore will approach him in the future, and that's why he gets mad. Maybe Jacob or the island's prophecy told Richard that the next leader of the others would be born of a mother named Emily, and since he was made aware of Ben and Locke, he visits Locke here, and this is some sort of test to show which one will be the leader. While Locke's digging through the dead DI bodies, looking for Horace's body, Hurley asks Ben, "So, why'd you kill all these people?" Ben quickly said, "I didn't kill them, that it wasn't my decision." And Hurley asks, "Whose decision was it?" And Ben replies, "Their leaders." Richard, most likely. Locke finds Horace's body, and he was a mathematician. Inside his pocket are full-on, complete blueprints to Jacob's cabin. On the freighter, Kimi grabs the key from Galt and opens the safe to get the secondary protocol booklet. Kimi says that it says where Ben will be next, and Captain Galt asks how anyone could possibly know that, and Kimi responds, "Widmore's a very smart man." So Kimi states that there's one place on the island that he knows Ben will go to if Ben knows that they're going to torch the island. I think it's pretty safe to assume that's going to be the Orchid Station, where Ben can go to teleport or time skip off the island to escape. And Damon and Carlton have said at the beginning of this season that we will see the Orchid video and the Orchid Station by the end of this season. We can also see on the booklet that there is the Orchid logo as far as we can make it out. We've always known Ben to be 2 steps ahead of everyone else, and now Widmore is too. This basically confirms that Widmore is tied with Dharma, as we can see the Orchid logo on the protocol sheet. But we've known that he's been tied with Dharma for a while now because of the Widmore Industries label on many of the items dropped onto the island. On top of the freighter, Galt wants to meet with Sayid and Desmond later, so he sends Omar away, and as he's leaving, we hear the Morse code message on the satellite phone that Dan left last episode, asking if the doctor is okay, which we see him in the background here. We go back to Locke, and he's looking at the blueprints of Jacob's cabin. Complete mathematical blueprints to build a shack? Going a little overboard, huh? And Locke offers Hurley a chance to return to the beach, but it would be at night and alone. So instead, Hurley remains with them, and Ben commends Locke's ability to force Hurley's choice. Locke denies being manipulative. "I'm not you." Ben sarcastically agrees. We flash back to Locke being locked in a locker as a teenager in high school, and a teacher lets him out. We can see for a split second a picture of Sir Richard Burton and Geronimo Jackson. Richard Burton was an explorer, someone who was adventurous, which is what Locke wants to be. And then Geronimo Jackson was on the t-shirt of the hitchhiker Locke picked up at the end that ended up being the cop. It was also mixed up in the records they played in the hatch. In the nurse's office, the teacher tells Locke that he got a call from Portland on behalf of Middleos Laboratories, who work with chemistry and new technologies. Oh, and also an interesting note is that if you mix up the letters in Middleos, you can get either lost time or time lost. When he mentions speaking with a Dr. Alpert, John looks up. The teacher tells him that Middleos is looking for a young, bright mind, and that they want John to go to their summer camp. Locke tells him that he likes sports and cars and boxing, manly stuff, and that he doesn't want to be a scientist. But the incredibly uplifting teacher lets him know that he'll never be a prom king, never be a quarterback, and never be a superhero. Then Locke says for the first time in his life, "Don't tell me what I can't do," which Locke has now said 6 different times in the show. On the freighter, Frank gets Michael up, and Michael tells him that he can't fly Kimi back to the island because he'll kill everyone. He also says it was Widmore who staged the plane at the bottom of the ocean, and Frank laughs, saying, "And I thought I was Mr. Conspiracy." That means we have every one of Widmore's men saying it was Ben, and every one of Ben's men saying it was Widmore, obviously. When they walk by the hallway, they see Omar strapping a device on Kimi, and I'll be talking about it in just a little bit. On top, Desmond tells Saeed that he's never setting foot on the island again, so just Saeed drives back to the island to get the first group, which we already know who they are. In the jungle, Ben tells Locke that there are consequences to being chosen, and that he was a chosen one also, like Locke. And then Hurley finds the cabin. We go back to the past, and Locke's in physical therapy, if you remember from the time where his dad tackles him through the window. We know that throughout his whole life, he hasn't been able to die. After he struggles, an orderly wheels him away, and we find out it's Matthew Abaddon, the first time we see him since episode 2 of this season. As you know, I've been talking about Lost like it's a giant game being played, and I thought it was funny that there was a sign in the background that said, "Get back into the game." This is exactly what Abaddon's trying to get Locke to do. Abaddon tells John that surviving an 8-story fall was a miracle, and suggests that John takes an Australian walkabout and learn who he truly is. Abaddon tells Locke that he's much more than an orderly, and again urges him to go on to the walkabout, saying purposely that when they meet again, Locke would owe him one. But why would Abaddon be encouraging Locke to go on the walkabout, therefore fulfilling his destiny and finding the island, if Abaddon's actually with Widmore? So this makes me think that Abaddon isn't with Widmore, even though he appears to be. And yeah, I thought, just like pretty much every one of you, that he was going to push Locke down the stairs.